Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to the Temple for Shabbat evening services. We're so glad you could join us here live or by a live stream. Our service this evening will be led from Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat, the prayer book of Reformed Judaism. You can find your way, if you have the two-volume version, the one just for Shabbat, by listening to the page numbers that are announced. If you're at home and you got the one-volume version, you're on your own. But seriously, there's a digital version, a flipbook version available on the description of our YouTube channel. Thank you all for joining us here. I want to specifically thank our guests this evening. We have guests from United Methodist Church of Shelbyville, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you after services. And I also wanted to mention that it's Crusade for Children weekend. And in honor of Dr. Waller, our congregation has always made efforts to support the Crusade for Children, and there is a basket out front for anyone who might want to do that, or you can send checks directly to Temple, made out to Crusade for Children, or directly to Crusade for Children, a great local charity. Our opening song is Hine Matov. You may have gotten that from the spirited version of our welcome music. How good it is and how glorious when a community can gather as one. Page 10.
Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. 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 How good it is!
How good it is!
How sweet it is!
How sweet it
To
is!
be together on this day. How good it is!
How good it is!
How sweet it is!
How sweet it
To be
is!
together on this day. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad.
It's now my pleasure to invite Nadine Lee and Sue Levy and Rabbi Rooks to lead the congregation in candles and kiddush. We turn to page 3 in the prayer book and rise. The microphone. There we go.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitchanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lihadlik ner
We continue on page 3 with the blessing over the Kiddush wine. On page, did I say 3? Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen.
Please be seated. And thank you, Rabbi Galia, Nadine, and Sue. We turn to page 6. We read responsively paragraph by paragraph. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to live lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Together, now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We turn to page 20 as we welcome Shabbat with the words of Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. La la la, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'liti la 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 Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'sohola, toch emuni am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela.
We rise now on page 28 for our call to worship the Baruch Hu.
La
page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light, transforming day into night, distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Araviv. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty, forever and ever.
That you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Please join me in the words of the Ve'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We continue on page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nadar b'kodesh, narate ilot osefele, osefele. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
God grant that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, O guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield us and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-pores sukat shalom, aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. The words to Yismachu are at the bottom of page 44.
Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Shabbat,
Shabbat. Zecher L'maaseh Bereshit Shabbat. Zecher L'maaseh Bereshit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei Oneg Shabbat.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise to the Tefillah, page 46.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agite ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei HaKol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech, Ozer, Moshiach, U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and our mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and our mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign deliverer, helper, and shield. Blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol. You are holy. Your name is holy. And those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. As we turn together for our prayer for peace, which can be found on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvorech et amo Yisrael, v'shalom. We take now a moment for silent prayer. Turn to page 253, page 253. And in the middle of the page, we find the prayer Mishaberach, a prayer for hope and for healing, which we offer this evening on behalf of all those in need of healing. Those members of our congregation in hospitals or nursing homes recovering from illness, recovering at home. Those who are in need of care and those who care for them. For all of those and all of us and all our world in need of healing, hope, and prayer. We ask these words of blessing. Mishaberach, please join us. Tonight is the end of our great counting of the Omer. Passover is 50 days to our past. Tomorrow night we will celebrate the festival of Shavuot, the time of our receiving of the Torah. So at the end of all that counting, it's only appropriate that the Torah reading for this Sabbath would begin with the book of Numbers. The number of Numbers begins with God's call to Moses and Aaron to take a census of the community of Israel. Count the number of all the community of Israel by clans and by ancestral houses, listing the names every male head by head. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups from the age of 20 years and up, all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. And all those who were numbered came up to 603,550. This number is more than a number. 603,550 men who were numbered here become synonymous with the number of the children of Israel. The same 603,550 men who are recorded in the previous census of the number of Israelite men who came forth out of Egypt, and the same 603,550 who stood at Mount Sinai and received the Torah. A moment of celebration which each year we remember, as we will tomorrow night on Shavuot. This number becomes so established as the number of the children of Israel that the great Jewish philosopher Sadia immortalized it in his proof of the 600,000, through which he endeavored to prove the existence of God. But who's missing from this listing? Actually, a great number of people remain uncounted: women, children, elderly men, and disabled people unable to bear arms. Why are we counting only men, 20 years and older, able to bear arms? There's a simple answer to this question, but the answer is usually provided exactly in that way, simply. It usually goes, well, we're about to head into a vast wilderness. We don't know what dangers may lay ahead, so we need to know who can fight and defend us in order to plan for and ensure our future. And this answer seems true enough, but don't we need to know the number of the women of childbearing age? Because after all, we are about to embark upon a dangerous journey into a wilderness, and we don't know how long that journey might last. 40 years comes to mind. Wouldn't we need to know the number of women in order to plan and ensure for our future? Wouldn't we need to know the number of children we would need to feed and teach and protect through this long and dangerous journey through our wilderness? Don't we need to know the number of disabled people we hold in our community in order to ensure that we can carry them with us and none will be left straggling behind to be open from attack? Truth is, there are many numberings of the children of Israel, and this is just one, even though this has become the one we always refer to as if only these men stood at Mount Sinai and received the Ten Commandments, the symbol of our covenant between God and the children of Israel. In fact, as the journey ends, Moses gathers the entire community of the children of Israel and says these exact words: "You stand here this day, all of you, before Adonai your God, your tribal heads, your elders, your officials, every household of Israel, your children, your wives, even the strangers within your camps, from the wood chopper to the water drawer, to enter into the covenant of Adonai your God." All of us, every soul, stood together at Mount Sinai. We were all counted when God welcomed us into this covenant. The exclusion here is not in the Torah, it's in the way we have been taught to read its words. Here's a lesson on how we might learn to read the Torah's words differently. In the census of the children of Israel who go down into Egypt, in the time of Jacob and Joseph, we find largely the same kind of listing of men, by tribe and by clan, with the sole exception of this verse from Genesis 46:17, which reads, "And the children of Asher, Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Serach." Who is Serach? And why did she merit to be listed as the sole woman to be listed among all these men? No one really knows the answer to that question, but it may have to do with another census conducted in the book of Numbers. Listed there among all the men, the descendants of Asher, who survived the journey and stood now on the banks of the Jordan River, within sight of the promised land, we find again the name of Sarah, the daughter of Asher. Which means that Sarah was the only member of the children of Israel wandering with Moses through the wilderness who actually remembered the promised land. At the time of this census, the second one, Sarah would have been 450 years old. Because of her legendary long life, Sarah appears from time to time in Jewish legends, teaching us lessons about our past. 1,000 years later, we're told, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was teaching his students that the waters of the Red Sea looked like walls of sprouting bushes, when a voice called out, "No, it wasn't like that at all." "Who are you?" Rabbi Yochanan asked. "I'm Sarah, the daughter of Asher," the old woman replied. And I know exactly what the walls look like because I crossed the Red Sea. They resembled shining mirrors in which were reflected every man, woman, and child, so that it seemed like an even greater number crossed there, not only those that were present, but also those of the past and the future as well. And when Serach finished speaking, no one dared to contradict her. The lesson of this legend is that Serach counts, because we have counted on her wisdom for generations. She may have only been the only woman who was counted in her generation, but because of her, women who followed after her could become leaders in their own days. A legendary woman comes to teach us of the value of us all. Tonight is the end of our great counting of the Omer. Passover is 50 days in our past. Tomorrow night we will celebrate the festival of Shavuot, the time of our receiving of the Torah. So it's only appropriate that we would be marking on this night as well the 50-year anniversary of the ordination of Rabbi Sally Prezan, the first woman to be ordained a rabbi by a recognized rabbinical seminary, another wise woman of Israel who taught us that not only men should be counted among our leaders, another woman who taught us the value of us all. May we be worthy inheritors of the wisdom of their words. May the work of our hands be blessed. May the work of all of our hands bring blessing. Our anthem is Al Shlosha Devarim. You can follow along with the words on page 338. Rise now for the adoration, our Elenu, page 283. Please join me as we read together in the middle of page 283. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Let me take this opportunity to thank Doug Voss and Michael Friedman for joining us on the pulpit this evening, representing the Board of Trustees of the Temple. Come back anytime, I know you will. Our service continues as we read together on page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד. It has been said Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one, and God's name will be one.
Page 288. When I die, give what is left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away. This week in our congregation, we remember particularly the names of Joshua Fink, Raymond Allen Sr., Charles Davis, Louis Horowitz, Arthur Markowitz, Ruth Rand, Manuel Weinberg, Charles Friedman, William Bill Stewart Tomapol, Hannah G. Weber, Steve Weinstein, Joanne Wool, Irma Benzinger, Hilda Blumenson, Dan C. Bick, Gertrude Katz, Jay Kobe, Alan Ballou, Max Oppenheimer, Betty Schutrum, Nancy Berlow, Marie Fleischer, Gary Hacker, Laura Kobe, Michael Lerner, Abraham Rosenzweig, Etta C. Rudd, Jonas Baker, Irvin J. Carl, Paul Baker, Myra Goldstein, Minna Kobe, Edward Platoff, Ray Webman, Esther Winkler, David Radman, and two who died in recent days, Maya Schneidman and Sophia Zilberman. Zichronam Livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we rise for Kaddish, page 294. Yid Gadal, v'yid Kadash, Shemei Rabba, Balmat Divrach Chirutei, v'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala u'vizman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavorach, L'olam Ulmei Olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha Richu, Le'lo min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all who are bereaved. And let us say together, Amen. Our closing song, appropriately so, is Al Shlosha Devarim, again, but another tune, page 338.
על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and our fathers, our parents' parents' parents from long ago. We give thanks for the generations of our people who have handed down to us the blessings we hold in our hands. We hope to be good inheritors of those blessings, but may we be good ancestors instead for the generations yet to come. We ask God's blessing on all who are gathered here, all who have joined us, and all we share. Adonai oz la'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo ve'et kol ha'olam b'shalom. May God give strength to the people of Israel. May God bless all people with the blessings of peace.
Amen, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. And to our guests, Shabbat shalom, welcome. And why don't you come forward to the front row and I'll answer any questions you must have after that wonderful experience. Good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. It was nice having a backup